Where does everything stand this spring with moving ahead to demolish the Crate Civic Center?
Yeah, so right now the contractor's out on site doing some of the minor asbestos remediation. When we did an asbestos survey of the building, we found just a very small amount of asbestos in the glue around the HVAC units on the roof. Once that's mitigated, then it's just a matter of scheduling the time for them to go out there and start demolition. It's anticipated that it's going to be anywhere between the end of March to the mid-April that when this starts, and that site will be cleaned up and be ready for the beach opening.
An anonymous email was sent to the city last week that accused the city's provisional police chief, Bud York, of making racially charged and discriminatory statements to a member of the city police department, a black officer with the police department. Both the chief and that officer were questioned. Both of them denied that any insensitive or racially charged comments were made. You've passed this email now on to the Attorney General's office, though.
Correct.
Why have you done that, and why are you moving ahead with the investigation?
A number of reasons. In the anonymous email, it was not only were those two officers named directly, but there was some claim that leadership, there was racism throughout the leadership, or racist comments made by leadership. We don't quite understand what that means and can't quite quantify it without additional information. We have a very strong whistleblower protection policy in the city of Plattsburgh. A number of people in the past have used this policy to come forward with information, actionable information that the city has taken to make some corrections based on that anonymous information under that whistleblower policy. Our legal team reached out to the anonymous email asking for additional information, as well as providing information on the whistleblower policy to make sure that whoever comes forward, they know that they are protected, and they are. And I want to make that crystal clear, and we don't take that lightly. But at this point, because the officers in question feel like the email itself created a harassing environment, because it was disproven, because there are still some questions on what that means of leadership making racist comments, there's additional information, additional work for us to do to sort all of those things out. And I think it's fair to at least engage outside agencies to determine if it's appropriate for them to pick these things up. So not only did we contact the AG's office, but we did contact the General Counsel of New York State Police to determine if there's any criminal actions involved in the claim itself. And so as things start to play out, and as we start to get more information, we do hope to get to the bottom of some of these statements, whether they're true or not, and whether there's other concerns that we need to be addressing at the police department.
And if you do find that it's verified, then what happens next?
If it is verified that racist comments were made, I've made it crystal clear that there'll be certainly different conversations regarding people's employment. That's appropriate. And we do the right thing. That's what you do. You do the right thing, especially when we talk about issues and concerns of harassment, racism, and other general inappropriate grievances.
And bring us up to speed, if you would, on the search for a new police chief. Bud York has been on the job for about a year. Is the search continuing, and where are you? You were waiting for a number of officers to take tests, and then where are you in the search for a new chief now?
Yeah, so last time we got a list back from Civil Service with one person on it. We felt that at that time it was not appropriate to move forward with replacing Chief York, who had been on the job for probably about 4 or 5 months at that time. At this point, we are waiting for another test to come out. I believe that there's a test that's been called for the end of this month. Civil Service takes about 5 months to score these tests, so whoever takes the test, we won't know what their scores would be until sometime in July. But in the interim, there are changes, succession plans, promotions that we're considering right now to further solidify leadership in that department based on experience, based on their ability to lead. And so we'll continue to make those internal changes until we find a permanent chief of police.
And you've been happy with Chief York and filling in for the past year?
Up until last week, until we kind of like, oh, what's going on here? But yeah, absolutely. Chief York has been great for the department. I've Other than an anonymous complaint, I've heard no other complaints or concerns from the members of that department. I am in contact with members directly in that department outside of the leadership, the lieutenants or the chief. And so it has been a positive change for him to be there. He has come in and done exactly what that department has needed him to do, and has brought the leadership that department has been lacking for quite some time. With that being said, there is development of members that are coming up through the ranks, and the ideal situation is that we continue to facilitate and foster that development for internal promotion to a point where we do have a chief of police internally that we can promote, and that's always the goal.
The state is now in the process of awarding licenses to business owners who will open recreational marijuana retail shops, dispensaries. One has been awarded to North Country Roots and owner Doug Buttdorf. Has he been in touch with the city, and does it appear that he plans to open and operate that dispensary within the city?
Yes, I'm absolutely. I know that there are two local awardees of conditional licenses that are planning at some point to open and operate within the city of Plattsburgh. I have been vocally supportive of recreational use or adult use since I moved home in 2013. We've seen it in other states. New York seems to be more progressive than most states, and it's taken some time, but here we are. I'm excited for it. I'm happy to have a new industry come into the city of Plattsburgh. Those people who are operating either retail or manufacturing, and we have growers that are also preparing to grow in the city of Plattsburgh. I will completely and continue to support those folks and like to see them thrive.
Any estimate of how many jobs this may create?
I don't know about the job situation. If it's a typical retail, I think they may be looking at anywhere between 5 to 10 jobs per site. In addition to the recreational storefront, there's also a delivery aspect to this as well. So there's the opportunity of employing a delivery team or some type of logistics team for the retail side of it. For the growing side of it, it might be a little bit different. They may be looking at maybe anywhere between, again, 5 to 10 employees per grow site, depending on their square footage. But it's a very exciting time in New York State to explore this new industry.
Amtrak has announced that the Adirondack line is going to resume service in early April after 3 years of not operating. How vital is that to the city of Plattsburgh, not only to get college students and folks from New York City and Albany up, but is there a benefit as far as the cross-border traffic and people using the train? Yeah,
those are our primary two audiences that use this system, right? The downstate students who use Amtrak to commute back and forth from school, from holidays, as well as those folks who are coming from Montreal into Plattsburgh to either visit or get onto a plane. When Contour Air opened up the first time, we were at the airport, and you had some Montreal Canadian travelers there who had to take the bus. Typically they said, hey, we would have taken the train, but it's no longer working. So it is very exciting to see that service return to the city of Plattsburgh, not only for those students, but also the Montreal travelers, but then for us too, right? We like to travel. Everybody likes to get out of town, and why not take the train down to Albany or down to New York City for the weekend?
Mayor Chris Rosenquest, thank you, as always, for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks, Tom.
Appreciate it.
Yep.